Welcome back to Educator.com's Adobe Premiere Pro CS6 in-depth course. And in this video, we're going to go over fixing color. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is the typical workflow. There's two separate workflows that you can do with Premiere for fixing color. The first one is fixing it inside of Premiere. And that's using the different video effects that are available inside of Premiere to do your color correction. And then there's also sending it to speed grade. And I'll talk briefly at the end about sending it to speed grade. But we're going to talk about in this video doing it inside of Premiere. So let's go over some of the color effects that are available in Premiere to work with your color. So I have open here, I have a video clip here, and before we do anything, we're going to change to the color correction workspace, which is Alt-Shift-2. We're going to choose color correction, and you will see that your workspace changes with your effects over here. And you also have the your timeline is down here, and we're going to fit everything inside of this little window just so we can see all three of our clips. Your project panel is up here, but since we don't really need to see a lot of it, I'm going to move this panel over here, and then I'm going to bring this so it fills up the entire screen. And this is the reference monitor that is used to show a non-biased version of this video up here. And there's three main references you're going to use in this monitor. We have the vector scope, which is this here. We have the YC waveform, which is this here. And we also have we have the YCBCR parade, but we're going to use the RGB parade. Unless you have some experience with the YCBCR, and you know about lab color, because it's basically based on lab color, you're not going to use this one. You're going to use the RGB parade. Well, let's go over each of these first, and I will tell you what exactly they show. The vector scope you're going to be using for your color balance. And you want it to be pretty balanced here in the center. If it goes off in one of these directions, that means you have a color cast in that direction. It shows the dominant color that's in your video. So if we go over to this video here, you can see that her skin tone here is showing up here. This section here is the line for skin tone. It's between red and yellow. If you have skin tone in it, you will see a spike up in this direction. Over here we have greens and blues, and you can see that here's the green here, here's the cyan, here's the blue, and you can see they clustered on this side of the vector scope, with just a few up here for these colors, these reds and these other colors in these sections. So this will give you your color balance overall of your video. If you come down to the YC waveform, this is you might have these two checked. Just uncheck them because we don't want to see the chroma information. We're basically using this for our exposure, whether your video is too light, too dark, overexposed. Like here, all of this section up here is this line up here, which is above 100. And you don't want it above 100. It's not good to have it above 100. And you don't want it below 0. That's not good either. And the setup here, 7.5 IRE, basically just takes whatever's at 0 and pushes it up to 7.5. But since we're not working with standard definition video for broadcast, we don't need that box checked. And this will go through the entire video and show you which sections have brightness and which have darkness. And to show that here, I'm going to scrub through this video, and you can see that she is standing right about here, because as I scrub through, you will see her move through the video as we come through, and you can see that she's moving on that side. Now it's showing you that as she's getting closer, it's starting to get brighter where she is. But all of these spots here, you can actually see the slats in this fencing over here, right in the middle between all of the brightness in between. So this is showing you the how the image looks just in brightness and nothing else. And then you can see her walking away again. And then even Rose here, you can see her hand reaching over because she has a bright section here on her arm. And you can see it her actually moving through the image. And this just shows you, like, when you're over here, all of this over here is this section here of the wall. And then it's mostly dark here. As you can see, it all falls way down here. And then as she gets more and more brightness here, you'll see more and more brightness over here. So that's the YC waveform. On the RGB parade, it's basically this, except it shows you the red channel, the green channel, and the blue channel. And they squeeze it down so a third of it is the red, a third is the green, and a third is the blue. But again, you can still see her movement through. You can see her arm when she lifts up her arm. You can see it here, her arm coming up and grabbing the stuff. You just see 3 different channels. And if you look at this, you can see that the red is the dominant color, the green a little bit less so, and the blue even less, because the blue only goes up to here, the green up to here, and the red up to here. And the red is the entire length of the, almost the entire length of the scope here. But it's the dark reds are down here, the mediums are here, and then the highlights are up here. So you want to get this stretched out for the red, the green, and the blue to color correct this image. And for the other ones, you can see that her skin is here, but if we're going to color correct it, we'll come back here and I'll show you how it moves everything more toward the center. And then the brightness here, see, it goes up to about 80, and it's down near 0, so these are pretty dark here, but this isn't as bright as it could be because it only goes up to about 80. And you can see the entire extent over here. The highest one is just above 80, and the lowest one is just above 0. So it will tell you the entire length of your exposure here. And we want to get this going up to close to 100, but not touching 100 and not touching 0. So we'll go through all of those and do all of the fixes. But let me show you some of the color effects that you can do with your video. You have our video here. Now we can do leave color. That is one that it's very popular if you want to have just a single color showing up and all the other colors going to grayscale. And you want to first choose whatever color you want to keep. So let's say we want to keep the red over here. It's kind of a pinkish red. So we might get some left over here, but we're going to get most of this left over. And then you have to come in and you do what amount you want to leave. So let's bring it all the way up to 100. And you can see it just left the reds and some of these other colors in the background. And as we go through the video, you'll see that it's just leaving those pinkish colors in there. And we can also do the tolerance, so we can change how tolerant it is. And you'll see if we start to bring it up, we'll start to get some of her shirt, which has a little bit of the pink in it also. And we get more of her arm here. And then the edge softness, you can also soften the edge of it. So if you have somebody holding, say, a red rose and there's no other red in the image, you can just choose the red color and then fiddle with the tolerance and the edge softness and get it so everything else is grayscale except that rose, which is still red. Now, if we want to change color, we can also change one of the colors in the image. And let's go ahead and we'll get pretty close to her green here. And we want to, let's bring it over to something else here. And we want to change the tolerance so we get more of the green. And you notice that we reach a certain point and the green out here also changes color. And it's another thing, if, say, she's holding a red rose and you want to change it to, I don't know, blue, you could choose the red and then fiddle around with the matching tones here, and you can get it to where it can change just the one color in the image. I don't really have time to sit here for half an hour trying to figure out exactly which tone we want to make. So those are just a couple of the things that you can do to an image to change the color. But we can also do tinting and black and white. Black and white is pretty simple. You just turn it on and your image is grayscale. There's no settings. There's no changes that you can do to it. It's either on or off. There's no like half black and white. That would just be saturation, and you can just turn the saturation halfway down. But black and white is an all or nothing effect. And then the tint, we can tint it to a certain color. So let's say we want to keep blacks black, but we want a sepia tone. So we'd want kind of a lighter for white. Let's get a pretty light brown. And you see we have a sepia tone here. Let's make it even lighter, just so we get a little bit. And then we have a tint on the entire thing. But we can also, this one you can actually choose how much you want to tint it. And let's say you have a cloudy day and you want to tint it a little bit brighter. You can tint it so it looks a little bit brighter in the image. It just adds just a little bit of color to the image, and you'll see that it makes it just a little bit tinted. Or let's say you have an underground scene and you want it to be really blue. I've seen this a lot for like police shows, and they want to make the inside of the police station kind of a bluish color, or the inside of the henchman's lair is kind of a bluish color. They can put a tint over it, and you can modify how much blue you want in the image. Of course, those are usually darker inside, but that's just how you would do it if you're doing a poor man's tinting job on a video. Now,